Namaskar and welcome to this workshop to build AI agents and agentic workflows for pursuit management. The title may sound technical at first, but let me reassure you, this program is designed specifically for people like you, pursuit professionals who manage bids, proposals, and capture activities every day. Over the next few weeks, we will explore a technology called Agentic AI. We will look at what it is, why it matters for your work, and how you can begin to use it without needing to become a technology expert. This is the preview of the entire workshop. It sets the foundation. In this session, we will cover what this workshop is designed to do, how it is structured, and what you can expect to walk away with. Whether you are joining as a proposal manager, a bid director, a capture lead, or a business development specialist, this workshop was built with your challenges in mind. It was designed in consultation with pursuit leaders and AI practitioners, and it reflects the real demands of competitive pursuit work across industry sectors, including IT services, professional services, and consulting industry. So let us begin. You are in the right place. Let us start with a simple question. Why does this workshop exist or needed? Here is the reality. As a pursuit professional, you already carry deep knowledge of your domain. You understand how opportunities are identified. You know what it takes to move from the first conversation with a client through qualification, through proposal development, all the way to contract signature. That knowledge is your primary professional asset. But here is the challenge. A new category of technology, Agentic AI, is now capable of automating and augmenting many of the activities along that pursuit journey. It can research competitors. It can extract compliance requirements from large documents. It can draft sections of a proposal. It can flag risks before they become problems. The question is not whether this technology is capable. It is. The question is whether pursuit professionals understand it well enough to direct it effectively. That is the gap this workshop is designed to close. You do not need to become an AI or machine learning engineer. You do not need to write code. What you need is a clear understanding of what Agentic AI can do, and the practical knowledge to deploy it within your own organization. Think about what that means for your work. Pursuit teams that understand this technology can improve their win rates. They can reduce the time spent on repetitive analysis tasks. They can make better bid and no-bid decisions because they have better information, faster. That is the business value we are building toward, and that journey starts here. Before we go any further, I want to address something directly. When people hear the words AI and automation in the same sentence as their job title, there is often a natural concern. Am I being asked to retrain? Am I going to become a technology person? The answer is no. That is not what this workshop is. Let me be very clear about the goal. The objective is augmentation, not transformation. We are not asking you to step away from your pursuit role. We are asking you to step into it more powerfully. Think of it this way. You already own the domain. You know what a good proposal looks like. You know what clients actually need, even when they do not fully articulate it in the RFP. You know how to spot a risky opportunity. That expertise does not go away. In fact, it becomes more valuable. What Agentic AI gives you is a capability layer. Agents that can act on your behalf. Agents that can do the heavy, time-consuming information processing work, so that you can focus on the strategic and relationship-driven work that only a pursuit professional can do. By the end of this workshop, you will be able to identify exactly where in your pursuit lifecycle these agents can add the most value, and you will know how to direct their implementation inside your organization. This is not about changing your career. It is about making your current role more capable, more efficient, and more competitive. This course is to prepare you with a mind shift, to reimagine pursuit management in the future of work. Hold on to that framing. It will help you get the most out of everything that follows. Now, let us look at how this workshop is structured. Understanding the structure will help you plan your participation and get the most from each session. The program runs over 6 weeks with a break of 1 week after the second week. In each week, there are 2 sessions. That gives you 10 learning events in total. The first session each week takes place on a Saturday morning, from 10 to 12. This is the mandatory live online session. It is the core learning event for the week. Each Saturday session focuses on concepts and hands-on implementation. This is where you will learn the principles and then apply them directly. The second session is held on Thursday evening from 7 to 9. This is what we call the Ask Me Anything session, or AMA. It is optional. The AMA is designed to support you in between the Saturday sessions. It covers tool demonstrations, answers your questions, and helps you set up the environments and platforms we use in the workshop. Here's why this 2-session structure matters. Learning a new technology domain works best when you separate concept absorption from practical application. On Saturday, you take in the ideas. During the week, you process them. On Thursday, you work through the practical details. And then on the next Saturday, you are ready to build. This design reduces cognitive overload. It gives your brain the time it needs to make connections between new ideas and your existing pursuit knowledge. If you can attend both sessions each week, that is ideal. But at a minimum, make sure you are present for the Saturday sessions. They are the foundation of everything else. All the sessions are recorded and available for your recall whenever needed. There is an important distinction I want to make before we go deeper into the program content. This workshop is not a tools course. We will use tools. We will demonstrate platforms. We will build real agents using real software. But the tools are not the point. The tools are the vehicle. The destination is understanding. Here is why this matters. The technology landscape is changing very rapidly. The platforms we use today may look quite different in 2 or 3 months. If we focus only on buttons and menus, we build fragile knowledge that becomes outdated quickly. What does not change is the underlying engineering concepts of agentic AI, the patterns that govern how agents reason and act, the principles that determine how multi-agent systems communicate, the business logic that connects AI capability to pursuit outcomes. These remain stable even as the tools evolve. So as we move through this workshop, I want you to stay focused on 2 things. First, the pursuit management domain, the workflows, the decisions, the stakeholders, the challenges you already understand deeply. Second, the engineering concepts of agentic AI, the patterns and principles that make agents work. If you leave this workshop with a solid grasp of these 2 areas, you will be able to apply that knowledge to any platform, in any organization, at any point in your career. The tools we demonstrate are there to make the concepts concrete and visible. Use them that way. Before we move into the weekly content, let us talk about what you need to bring with you. And I want to be clear up front. No programming experience is required. However, there are 3 conceptual areas where some prior familiarity will make a real difference to how quickly you progress. The first is a basic understanding of generative AI. Specifically, how to write prompts and how to refine them to get better outputs. If you have spent time working with ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, or any similar platform, and you have learned how to improve your instructions to get more useful results, you are already in a good position. That skill is the foundation of everything we build on top. The second area is inter-application messaging, which we often call APIs, Application Programming Interfaces. You do not need to write one. You do not need to understand the technical implementation. What you need is a conceptual sense of how different applications talk to each other. Think of it like this. When your CRM automatically sends a notification to your email, that is 2 applications exchanging data through an API. Understanding why that happens, and that it is a standard controllable mechanism, is enough. The third area is structured data, particularly a format called JSON. JSON is how many software systems organize and share information. It uses a simple structure of labels and values. Understanding why this structure exists and how it is used to pass information between agents will help you design and troubleshoot multi-agent workflows far more effectively. If any of these feel unfamiliar, I encourage you to spend some time before or during the workshop watching short videos or reading introductory articles online. There is plenty of accessible material available. We will also cover these concepts in context as we build, but the more you arrive with, the further we can go together. I want to spend a moment on something that is not a technical skill, but it may be the most important shift you make in this entire workshop. It is the shift from task-level thinking to system-level thinking. Most of us, when we first encounter AI tools, think about them in terms of individual tasks. How can I use this to summarize an RFP section? How can I use this to check compliance? These are valid questions, but they lead to isolated, fragile solutions. System-level thinking asks different questions. What triggers this activity in my pursuit process? Who receives the output, and what decision does it enable? Where does this step connect to the next one? What happens if it fails? This is the way business process management practitioners think, and it is the way effective agent designers think too. Now, you do not need to be a BPM expert, but there are certain terms worth knowing. A process is a series of connected activities with a defined outcome. Roles and actors are the people or systems responsible for each step. Actions are what gets done. Events are things that happen. A new RFP arrives, a deadline passes. Triggers are the signals that cause a process to start or move forward, and KPIs are the metrics that tell you whether the process is working. If these words are already part of your vocabulary, even loosely, you are ahead of the curve. Here is why this matters for building agents. An agent that is designed to sit inside a process with clear triggers, clear inputs, clear outputs, and a clear handoff to the next step is a professional-grade agent. An agent that is built to answer one question in isolation is a prototype. The goal of this workshop is to build the former, and it starts with thinking at the system level. Let us now walk through the weekly program, starting with Week 1. Day 1 is entirely focused on building your conceptual foundation. Before we touch any tool, we need to be very clear about what we are building and why it is different from everything that came before it. We start with the evolution of AI. This is not a history lesson. It is context that will help you understand why agents behave differently from earlier automation tools. We go from traditional AI, which follows fixed rules, to generative AI, which creates content and responses, to agentic AI, which takes actions, makes decisions, and operates with a level of autonomy that neither of the previous generations had. From there, we draw two critical distinctions. The first is between a prompt on a large language model and an AI agent. When you type a question into an LLM and get an answer, that is a prompt exchange. It is powerful, but it is reactive. An agent, by contrast, has a goal, a set of tools, and the ability to decide what steps to take to achieve that goal. That is a fundamentally different capability. The second distinction is between an agentic workflow and traditional automation tools like robotic process automation. RPA follows scripts. It automates what a human does step by step, as long as nothing unexpected happens. An agentic workflow can adapt. It can handle situations that were not explicitly scripted. Finally, we introduce multi-agent systems, where multiple specialized agents work together, each handling a different part of a larger task. Without this foundation, the tools we introduce in later weeks become confusing. With it, everything clicks into place. Day 1 is where that clarity begins. After Day 1's conceptual session, the Thursday AMA for Week 1 shifts into practical territory. We will set up the first platform we use in this workshop, the OpenAI Agent Builder. Let me give you a clear picture of what to expect. To use this platform, you will need access to the OpenAI API. This requires a subscription, but it is not a monthly fee. You pay for what you use based on the volume of text your agents process. An initial deposit of around $5 is typically enough to get started and experiment comfortably through the early stages of the workshop. We will show you exactly how to set this up. Once you have access, you will find that OpenAI Agent Builder offers two ways to work. One is programmatic, using code and software development kits. The other is visual, a no-code interface where you connect components to build an agent. This workshop uses the visual approach. It is accessible to anyone, regardless of coding background. In the AMA session, we will walk through account creation, how to subscribe to the API, how to navigate the platform, and what the different building blocks, the nodes and connectors, actually do. We will also introduce a concept called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. MCP is becoming the standard way for agents to connect to external systems, things like email platforms, file storage, databases, and enterprise applications. Understanding MCP is important because it is what gives an agent its reach. Without it, an agent operates in isolation. With it, an agent can work across your entire technology environment. By the end of this AMA session, you will have a working environment ready and a clear sense of what the platform can do. Day 2 is where the work begins in earnest. By this point, you have your conceptual foundation from Week 1, and you have your environment set up from the AMA. Now we build. And we build with purpose. The examples we use in Day 2 are drawn directly from pursuit management. Not toy examples, not abstract scenarios. Real tasks that you recognize from your own work. For instance, one of the builds we work through involves extracting compliance requirements from an RFP. If you have ever spent hours manually reading through a procurement document to find every mandatory requirement, you will appreciate the value of an agent that can do this analysis accurately and quickly. Another example covers competitor research, directing an agent to gather and summarize publicly available intelligence about a specific competitor in the context of a live pursuit. Alongside the hands-on building, Day 2 introduces what we call Agentic AI patterns. These are the standard design approaches that experienced agent architects use. How do you structure an agent that needs to make a decision before taking the next step? How do you design a handoff between one agent and another? How do you handle loops, where the agent needs to try something, evaluate the result, and try again? These patterns are the vocabulary of agent design. By the time day 2 ends, you will be able to build both a single agent workflow and a multi-agent workflow, independently using a pursuit-relevant scenario. That is a significant capability milestone, and it happens in just the second week. In week 3, we shift our focus to a different platform, Microsoft 365 Copilot, and with it, a different context. I want to be precise about what we mean here, because it is a common source of confusion. Many of you already use Microsoft Copilot as a productivity tool. You may use it to draft emails in Outlook or to summarize documents in Word. That is Copilot as a personal assistant. That is not what we are building in week 3. In day 3, we are using Microsoft 365 Copilot as a platform for building agents. We are designing agents that operate within the Microsoft environment using your organization's own data, documents in SharePoint, files in OneDrive, signals from Microsoft 365 to execute specific pursuit and proposal management tasks. Why does this matter? For organizations that are already running on Microsoft 365, this approach offers a very practical advantage. Your data is already there. Your governance and security controls are already in place. Deploying agents in this environment does not require a separate infrastructure investment. You build where your data already lives. In this session, we also explore 2 important distinctions. The first is the difference between a copilot, which assists a human who is actively directing it, and an agent, which can operate with greater autonomy toward a defined goal. The second is the difference between a conversational AI workflow, which adapts based on the situation, and a deterministic workflow, which follows a fixed set of steps every time. Understanding when to use each of these approaches is a core design skill, and day 3 gives you the grounding to make those choices deliberately. Following day 3's session on Microsoft 365 Copilot, the week 3 AMA introduces a different and more powerful platform within the Microsoft ecosystem, Copilot Studio. These are 2 distinct products, and it is worth being clear about the difference. Microsoft 365 Copilot is the assistant experience built into the Office applications you use daily. Copilot Studio is a dedicated environment for building and deploying agents at an enterprise scale. Think of M365 Copilot as a starting point, and Copilot Studio as the professional-grade architecture built above it. In the AMA session, we walk through the environment setup for Copilot Studio. This includes configuring SharePoint, setting up OneDrive integration, enabling connectors, and exploring the platform's interface. A word on access. If your organization has a Copilot Studio license, you can use that. If not, there is a free 30-day trial available for business email accounts. If you are using a personal email address, you can create a Microsoft developer account and access the trial through that route. We will guide you through whichever path applies to you. One of the most powerful features of Copilot Studio is its connector library. It includes connections to more than 100 external applications, CRM systems like Salesforce, project tracking tools like Jira and Asana, Microsoft's own planner, and many more. This means agents you build in Copilot Studio are not limited to the Microsoft ecosystem. They can reach into the wider technology stack your organization already operates. This is what enterprise-scale agent deployment looks like in practice, and this AMA is where you see it come together. By week 4, you have built agents on 2 different platforms. You understand the core concepts. Now we move to the more advanced capabilities that Copilot Studio offers for enterprise-scale pursuit workflows. Day 4 covers 4 areas, and each one builds on the previous. The first is topics and triggers. Triggers are explicit mechanisms that control when and how an agent activates. They are more prominent in Copilot Studio than in the tools we used earlier, and understanding them gives you precise control over your workflows. A trigger might be an incoming email with a specific subject. It might be a new document uploaded to a SharePoint folder. It might be a calendar event. Knowing how to configure triggers makes your agents responsive to the real events in your pursuit process. The second area is Microsoft Agent Flow, which sits above Microsoft's Power Automate tool. This is where you can orchestrate higher-level, adaptive workflows across multiple applications, going beyond what any single tool can do on its own. Third, we continue to develop your ability to choose between agentic workflows, which reason and adapt, and deterministic workflows, which follow preset steps. Most real-world pursuit systems use a combination of both, and knowing when each is appropriate is a key design skill. Fourth, we explore how to use MCP servers within Copilot Studio, connecting your agents to the external enterprise systems your organization relies on. By the end of day 4, you can design workflows that genuinely reflect how your organization operates. Not simplified demonstrations, but production-quality architectures built for real pursuit conditions. In the final week of the workshop, we introduce a third platform and a concept that may have the greatest long-term impact on how you build and scale Pursuit AI capabilities. The platform is Claude Cowork, developed by Anthropic. The concept is skills. Let me explain what a skill is, because it is central to this session. In the context of agentic systems, a skill is a reusable capability module, a purpose-built piece of functionality that can be called and used across multiple different agent workflows. Here is why this matters. Without skills, every new agent you build starts from scratch. You define the task, you design the logic, you test and refine it. That is valuable, but it is also slow. With skills, the work you do once becomes something you can use again and again. You build a skill for RFP analysis, and every future agent that needs to analyze an RFP can simply call that skill. You build a skill for competitor research, and it is available across your entire pursuit operation. Over time, your organization develops a library of reusable pursuit intelligence, a growing collection of skill modules that compound in value with every bid you run. In day 5, we also explore Claude Cowork, which allows you to work directly with local files and directories on your own machine. This is useful for practitioners who want to process documents, create content, and manage outputs without depending entirely on cloud platforms. We look at Claude both as a hosted platform and as a locally deployable tool, giving you flexibility in how you integrate it into your working environment. Day 5 is where the full picture of a scalable Pursuit AI system begins to come into view. The final AMA session of the workshop focuses on the capstone project, the centerpiece of the competency certification pathway. Let me explain how certification works in this program. Every participant who completes the workshop sessions receives a participation certificate. This recognizes your commitment and your exposure to the full curriculum. But for those who want to go further, who want to demonstrate that they have genuinely built a functional agent for a pursuit management application, there is a second level, the competency certificate. And this is earned through the capstone project. Here is what the capstone involves. You will select a real pursuit management scenario. You will design and build an AI agent that addresses that scenario. You will then submit your agent for evaluation and present it at what we call Demo Day, a 10-minute live demonstration in front of a panel of evaluators. The panel includes experts in both pursuit management and agentic AI. Their focus is not on finding problems. It is on understanding what you built, how it works, and how it could be developed further. Every participant who reaches the capstone stage receives constructive feedback from practitioners who understand the domain. You will have approximately 2 weeks after the final workshop session to complete and submit your project. The Week 5 AMA is the right time to clarify the project requirements, review the evaluation criteria, and ask any questions about scope and approach. The capstone exists for a simple reason. Real capability only proves itself when it is applied to a real problem. Attendance tells you what was taught. The capstone tells you what was learned. Before we close this first session, let us consolidate the most important points, the ideas I want you to hold onto as you move through this workshop. The first is the core premise of this program. Agentic AI is a tool for augmentation. It enhances your pursuit capability. It does not replace it. Your domain expertise, your understanding of clients, of competitive dynamics, of what makes a compelling proposal, that is your primary professional asset. Agents are the amplifier. Second, invest in concepts, not just tools. The platforms we use in this workshop will evolve. Some may change significantly within a few years, but the principles, how agents reason, how they communicate, how they are designed to sit inside a business process, these remain stable. The more deeply you understand the concepts, the more durable your capability will be. Third, recognize what makes agents genuinely different. They are not scripted automation. They do not just follow preset steps. They reason, they adapt, and they act. That is what makes them powerful in pursuit environments, where no two opportunities are identical and conditions change frequently. Fourth, think in terms of reusability from the very beginning. Every skill you build, every agent you design, is a potential building block for the next one. Pursuit organizations that approach agentic AI with a reusable, modular mindset will accumulate capability far more quickly than those who build one-off solutions. And fifth, competency proves itself in practice. We are not here to accumulate certificates. We are here to build real capability. The capstone project is the moment where that capability becomes visible and verifiable. Carry these 5 ideas with you into every session that follows. I want to close this first session with an idea that I hope will stay with you beyond this workshop. Peter Drucker, one of the most respected thinkers in the field of management, said something that feels particularly relevant to what we are doing here. He said, "The best way to predict the future is to create it." This workshop is, at its heart, an invitation to do exactly that. The pursuit management profession is at an inflection point. The organizations and professionals who understand agentic AI, who can direct it with purpose, design with it intentionally, and deploy it in service of their clients, will be the ones who define how competitive bidding and proposal work evolves in the years ahead. You already own the expertise that matters most: a deep understanding of what clients need, what makes proposals compelling, and how to lead pursuit teams under pressure. What this workshop gives you is the architecture to make that expertise scale. You can build agents that work while you sleep. You can create workflows that turn weeks of manual analysis into hours. You can design systems that make your team more strategic, more responsive, and more likely to win. The technical skills you develop here are important, but the most important thing is the shift in how you see what is possible. We look forward to building that future with you, one agent at a time. Thank you for joining this session, and we will see you on Saturday.